Hey guys, Moose here. Welcome to another episode of Life is Feudal Forest Village. You'd think after almost 250 episodes I know what the game was called. My mind is elsewhere right now, and we'll get into that in a minute, but first things first, we need to address the food issue here, so I'm going to try to speed this along as much as I can, and hopefully that will get us to the place where we need to be with the farm, and then I can kind of reassess our food situation. So, I've been thinking a lot lately about a lot of things because... Not really, I don't know, maybe not a particular reason. I guess I've been reading some more stuff and trying to kind of think about things a bit more. And there isn't really a good place to start with this, so this may not make total sense, but a lot of what I've been reading about and kind of looking into and trying to learn about is what's doing well on YouTube right now. And what succeeds on YouTube is not me, to put it bluntly. It seems like the main format would be like a pretty heavily edited video, like the videos like I do, where it's unedited, it's just kind of stream of consciousness, playing a game and talking about stuff. Those don't really seem to be doing as well as they maybe were 4 or 5 years ago. And the reason that I say 4 or 5 years ago is because any kind of market like this tends to be a little bit slow to adapt, especially when you're dealing with lots of individual competitors rather than large companies duking it out. Large company is going to be quicker to adapt because they can just change everything at once, whereas a lot of individuals are more likely to be set in their ways and continue doing stuff. So a really good example of what I'm talking about is a guy like Northern Lion. He's still succeeding because he is uniquely talented and funny and witty and interesting to listen to. I'm not charismatic like that. And that's okay, I don't want to be. That's not who I am. I mean, I do want to be, but that's not who I am ultimately. But the point is, he can do this, whereas maybe I'm not as suited to... or I'm not as good, therefore I'm losing quicker, I guess is the way that I'd put that. So the other thing that does well on YouTube is the clickbaity shit, which that's not me. That will never be me. I hate that. So basically, with everything I've read and been looking into, I've kind of gotten to the point where I feel pretty strongly that pretty much all of my efforts to actually make money on YouTube are dead. And I was never really expecting to make much, but there was a time before they changed the monetization rules where I was making about 200 a year, which is not nothing. It's a starting point, like you can grow from there, but once they took it away, now I'm basically... The reality of it is they didn't stop putting ads on my videos, now I just don't get money for them. There's still ads on the videos, which pisses me off, but in effect, what it is now is instead of making 200 a year, I'm making YouTube 200 a year and getting nothing. So I'm working for YouTube. This is an unpaid job at that point, which is obviously not something I'm happy about. It's frustrating. Okay, it's spring, so it's a perfect time to start with this. Okay, this is gonna be a weird year, but we're gonna try to make it work. So, bottom line, and I'll talk through this because I don't have any villagers right now, so I have no choice. Bottom line, I'm making money for them and I'm seeing nothing in return. And I basically, if you haven't been paying attention to it, and you have no reason to pay attention to it, I've basically been sitting about 20 subscribers away from getting monetization back for about 2 or 3 months now. Maybe actually longer than that. So I'm like right on the edge, and I don't think this is the case. I think this is all on me, but it's... A cynical person would say it's in YouTube's best interest to make it harder to hit that particular gap. In a perfect world for YouTube, it'd be easy to get to 950, and then 950 to 1000 would be the hardest there is, and then everything after that would be easy. But I think that's stupid. I don't think they're actually doing that. But it would be interesting if they were, where they're just like kind of artificially trying to keep people just below 1,000. But I think it's more that just I'm trying things and they're not working, so I'm not really reaching people to grow, which is, it's unfortunate, but I'm not really surprised. But it all comes back to what I said, where my content isn't really what's going to make money on YouTube, and that's okay. That's, you know, to a degree that's expected. But I'm kind of at the point where I feel like I'm not giving up, but it does feel like, you know what, look, I tried. This isn't going anywhere. I'm not going to make any money off this, and that's okay. It's not really all about the money. So, what does that mean for YouTube in the future? Well, it probably means that I'm a lot more likely to put effort in Twitch than YouTube. Twitch is actually paying me. Like, I'm actually making money off of Twitch. And I'm making already more money than I ever made off of YouTube. Like, by a huge margin. It's way more. And I'm nobody on Twitch, so were I to put more money into, or put more time into that and work through Twitch mainly instead of YouTube, it would be... That would make more sense. And I want to be clear, it's really easy to hear something like that and say, oh, he's just in it for the money, blah, blah, blah. You know, everyone's a gold digger. Money's the only thing that matters in the world, but I don't think that's really the case, because... So it's a little bit different because there are different models. YouTube is ad-driven, Twitch is basically donation-driven. They are fundamentally different. But think of it like this. Money is the feedback mechanism for any product. That's the bottom line. The reason a product exists is to be sold. That's capitalism. That's the world that we live in. That's the society that we've chosen to create. That's our system for our society. Fundamentally. You vote with your money. Money is the expression of enjoyment or lack of enjoyment of a product. If you buy something, you are saying that you like it, which is why every time someone purchases, you know, some shitty Call of Duty remake that's the same game they've made the last 6 years in a row, but you're still buying it, you're saying, hey, I want more of that. Which is why people say don't pre-order. One of many reasons. So, as a, you know, not really a business, but as a business, I have to look at that and say, okay, well, people enjoy it more on Twitch than they do on YouTube. Fundamentally, that's what that means. So, at that point, and also just rationally, like, thinking about it, this kind of content is Twitch. Twitch can't be edited because it's Twitch, it's live. So, it makes more sense to do this kind of thing on Twitch. So, anyway. That doesn't mean the channel's going away or anything. It does mean I'm probably... Well, I'm not making any changes right now because I just kind of got in this mood and I'm going to sleep on it for like a week or two before I actually do anything, but... Probably I'm going to put more effort into Twitch and less into YouTube. That's probably where this is going. What does that actually mean functionally? Probably just... Right now I've got pretty much 2 videos a day. Or more every day. That'll probably go down to 1.5. Which we were there for a while, but yeah, and then probably I'll stream 4 to 5 times a week. The real issue there is I don't really know when I can stream because it really, like, at that point you're making an appointment to do something and it's hard to, like, commit to a time and just have that be, hey, look, I have a day job and this is another like 2-hour block almost every day that I'm tying off that I can't do anything else. That's kind of hard, so I have to figure out how to manage that, but it might just mean long streams on the weekends. I don't know. I'll have to see how I want to do it. At this point, I'm undecided. So, yeah. stuff I have to figure out. I just want to get rid of that tree, it was bothering me. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at mentally. And I'm also thinking a lot more about writing. I've done a lot of work recently on the short stories that I'm doing and trying to think about, like, how I want to handle it from a, like, arc perspective. Arc kind of makes it sound more formal than it actually is, but I guess I'll probably talk about that for the rest of the video. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, you get the idea with the YouTube and Twitch stuff. That's really nothing new. I'm just kind of coming to realizations that I kind of was trying to avoid. I kind of always knew this was true, I just didn't like seeing it. YouTube is a lot easier to do than Twitch. Twitch is much more difficult because you really have to put in time. Like, there's no substitute. On YouTube, you can kind of... I can put in all the work on Saturday, and I'm good. And that's it. But on Twitch, it's like, you gotta be there at that time, every day, every week. And there's no... Like, it's much more time-intensive, in my opinion. Personal opinion, but whatever. We'll see where it goes. There's a lot changing in my life right now, so I gotta kind of figure things out. But yeah, writing. Back to the writing stuff. If you think about, like, everyone consumes entertainment, so you guys, I'm sure you know this. If you've read a book at any point in your life, you fundamentally likely understand that it's typically organized into chapters, right? So you've got the overall book, and that's like one unit. And then you have, within that, chapters. So what I'm doing is short stories. It's not it's not like a book. It's individual short stories, probably really short. Not more than, like, maybe... I don't know. I haven't finished any of them, and I haven't fully fleshed them out completely. I'm very much at the beginning page. Like, with this kind of a thing, I fully expect to do, like, a lot of drafts and go through it and iterate and iterate. And it's not going to be like a one-time thing. It's going to take a lot of work over a long period of time. So probably, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up being... probably less than 10 pages. I would be surprised. Well, it depends. Okay. If I'm thinking about, like, essay paper, it'll be less than, like, 3 or 4 pages. But in a book, that's a lot more. In a book, that could be, like, 10 or 15 pages. Depending on the size and font and everything. So, you know, it's not as simple as just what it looks like on a Word document. But, fundamentally, like, the reason that books and chapters are important, the reason chapters are helpful, is from a storytelling perspective, you have arcs. And it's not just like, hey, this is a story arc that goes out over, like, 20 episodes in an anime or something, which is typically where I first heard the term story arc, or this arc. People would refer to generally a season of an anime and say, like, oh yeah, I like that arc, that one was good, but then this one wasn't part of the manga, so it was trash, which is a pretty typical thing, apparently, but I was never really that big into it. Anyway, point is, really, fundamentally, you need some kind of... no one wants to watch an episode where nothing happens. No one wants to read a chapter of a book where nothing happens. You know, there needs to be some kind of, like, flow through the story on a chapter-by-chapter, episode-by-episode basis. And then you need to have a similar, you know, but overarching kind of larger thing where everything interconnects over the whole book or the whole season. Or even the whole show. Sometimes it's multi-season, and you only resolve parts of the story within one season of a TV show. That's pretty common, I think. There's always something connecting them, right? And then within that, you can break it down, and there's elements of a story, and there's mechanics of, like, how you want to structure a story for as far as, like, progressing through it goes. Actually writing it is almost just filling in the blanks at a certain point. But fundamentally, you're looking at an arc within each segment, and then an overarching arc with the overarching story. And I started with short stories. I started with the idea of, like, hey, I'm going to write some short stories. Because there were some concepts that I wanted to talk about, basically. And there was a world in my head that I wanted to put to paper and be like, hey, check this out, this is cool. I think this universe that I've created in my mind is interesting. Take a look. And just see how people like it. But the problem is, and I think this is going to be my pitfall, if I fully, you know, go through with this and, like, have a book and everything, just a collection of short stories, were I to fully go through with it, my biggest issue right now is that I'm not really thinking about a story, I'm thinking about individual moments that I enjoy and find interesting. And this is actually tying it back to video games here. This is a major complaint that I've heard about David Cage's writing in Detroit Become Human, which recently came out. A lot of it is like, hey, this scene is really cool in my mind, I'm gonna bend the story to make it work, even though it creates like 50 plot holes. So that's been a major complaint about Detroit, is that there are a ton of plot holes that basically seem to exist in order to facilitate, like, scenes that they think are cool. Which is bad writing, obviously. So what I have to do is, I don't need to... I need to focus more on the ideas that I want to talk about, and less on the actual way in which they come up, I guess. Like, and I do actually kind of have an overarching plot element that I want to talk about that I think is interesting, but it's also not really, like... I don't really have a story surrounding it, it's just sort of like, hey, check this out, this is reality in this world that I've created. It's not really like a thing that's like... It's interesting, for sure, but it's not... There's no story to it, it's just like, this is a thing that like, this is the fact of this world. So probably what I need to do is kind of put something around that, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I have moments, I have individual moments and concepts within an overarching story, but I don't have that solid arc in that story. So what I'm trying to do is think about, what is the overarching arc there for the whole... If I'm doing a collection of short stories and they're all going to be interconnected, what is the overarching story for that book? However many short stories it's going to be. And then I need to take some of my... I need to ignore the ideas I have for moments. Just ignore the moments for now and focus on however many short stories I'm going to have within that arc. What is each one going to relate to? And I think I fundamentally have an idea, but it's not like I need to put it to paper and really document it so I understand it, because... Oh god, I screwed up, didn't I? No, okay, I didn't start building it in this one. I was like, wait a minute, that house probably finished and I've got a ton of people I don't want, don't I? I do not yet. Okay, you guys are not going to be able to do anything here, so why don't you bail and, like, build, and then I'll put 2 of you on fishing. 1 more on woodcutting. I'll take 1 off of fishing, that's fine. We're doing well. The farm was the right idea. So fishing is just trash, basically. That's what we've discovered. It's terrible. So that sucks. I didn't think it was that bad. Evidently it is, but what are you gonna do? At least we solved the food issue for now. People are growing up too. We have no children as of right now. What a fantastic colony. No kids. Sounds great, right? I'm assuming a lot of you are actually probably kids, so maybe not, but... No, kids don't want to be around adults, and adults don't want to be around kids, so I think really we all just want to be alone. I know that's not actually the way it works, but in my mind, that's how I'm thinking about it. Obviously, that's not the case. I know not everyone wants to be alone. I kind of want to be alone, so that's, you know... I guess I'm imposing my desire on everyone else. Incorrectly. Which doesn't surprise me that much. I don't think I'm abnormal, but I'm definitely, in some respects, different from the average person. Which is fine. I like that, actually. I would rather be different than the same. Same is boring. So do I want to have this right on the edge? I think I do. Put it like right there. I'm going to pause it for now because we need to spend our workforce getting resources like wood and stone. We're going to run out of stone again. Ooh, right, I have hunting. Why don't you guys go do that? I totally forgot I built that. That's going to be super valuable. Screw fish. Fish suck. Who wants fish? I want fish. I could go for some salmon. Actually, you know what? No, I can't. I'm not really in the mood for salmon. It'd be fine. I'd be happy with it, but I'm not like super in the mood for it. What do I even want to eat right now? Kind of nothing. A lot of the stuff I want, I'm just like, no, that'd be too fatty. Like, I'm thinking like, hey, salmon with fettuccine alfredo or something, but then that's the pasta's gonna be fatty. I don't really want to eat it because I feel... I don't know that I've been gaining weight, but I feel fatter. I don't know if that makes sense. I think I might still be about the same weight, but I want to get back under 200. I'm at like 225 pounds right now. And that's like not super fat for me, but I definitely have a little bit of a gut, and I want to get that down under 100, down under 200 if I can. But I haven't been under 200 in 15 years, I don't think. So that's gonna take some doing. Though I will say this: if I can put on muscle instead and still be like 200 pounds, but be more muscle than fat, that would work for me too. Be totally fine with that. The weight doesn't matter anymore if I'm comfortable with my figure, I guess, is what I'd say. But anyway, all this stemming from health issues and just wanting to be healthy because I don't feel great because I'm really stressed and I worked all weekend. And not on YouTube. I worked all weekend on work. But anyway, that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, there is always a Twitch stream that I was talking about over at twitch.tv/electronicmoose. Currently Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. PST, 9 to 11 p.m. EST, but hey, I don't know, maybe longer than that. Anyway, feel free to come by and check it out if you like. If not, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.